Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got some baits for you this month I think are really good. I think one of them is something that might open your eyes to these fish that are really hard to catch this time of year. You know, it's here in Oklahoma, we haven't had any rain. It has been really hot. You know, we're filming this here at the end of September. The water temperature this past couple days was in the upper 80s, believe it or not. Like, it's just crazy how warm this water still is this time of year. I'm finding that fish are just scattered. Like, yes, there are a few fish up shallow where they should be migrating towards, but you know, I haven't seen that big push of shad and all that stuff, you know, here in the Midwest like you would have normally, just because it's been so hot. You know, I think seasonably hot. And I don't mean to bring up my pecans or my nuts, but man, they're way ahead. You know, like they're 10, 12 days ahead, you know, just for whatever reason. Things are different this year than they normally are. And talking to some other farmers and stuff's kind of different this year. So I've got a bait to help combat that. It's a bait that maybe you've thought of in the spring, but I doubt you've ever thought of it this time of the year, and especially what I'm doing to it. Then I got a couple other baits. Just, you know, some of us just don't like messing with those deep fish and get frustrated, because I get frustrated with them. I got a couple baits that you need to have tied on that you can just go get bites. And one of them's brand new. Like, part of getting bites is just fishing a bait that fish haven't seen before. I promise you. I got a video coming out that will show this. Like, just, man, just the bites is just, it's like a, I don't know, a new restaurant in your local town. You know, you eat at it a few, 4, 5, 6 times, you know, right off the bat after it opens, and then the newness kind of wears off. It's the same thing for a bass. When they see something new to eat, they eat it more often than when they see it a bunch. So let's get off into it. So the first bait I want to talk about, yes, is a jerk bait. We all know about jerk baits. I want to talk to you about weighting a jerk bait. You know, like when I'm out there fishing and I'm looking at my active target and I'm watching these fish, I've got shad on lakes that really shouldn't have shad 30 feet deep this time of year, but there's shad 40 feet deep. There's shad in 5 feet of water, 10 feet of water. And what the bass are doing, they're just roaming under those shad. Like, you'll just see them roaming, and then they'll go back down to the bottom. And when they go to the bottom, you know, we've talked on this channel, if you go back and look at the previous September, October baits, we've talked about a worm, you know, a big worm. Like, that's a great bait. We've talked about a football jig, a great bait to throw this time of year when those fish are on the bottom. But you know, now with all this forward-facing sonar technology, we're seeing that they just don't live down there. I watch them, and then you see them down there kind of milling around on the bottom. They're on the bottom. Yes, that's when you can catch them on those baits. You know, maybe a big spoon. But then all of a sudden they're gone. Like, you just don't see them out there anymore. And you look around and they're up in the water column and they're chasing shad, and they may come all the way to the surface. And yeah, you could throw a top water. There's certain days that they're up towards the top more than the bottom, and man, that's when you need to throw that jaywalker. But for those days that they're just in that middle water column, or like you're sitting there on that perfect underwater point or hump, and you need another bait to throw at them. You've thrown your jig, your stand-up worm, your Carolina rig, and you've drug it across the bottom, and man, you're not getting any more bites. Take your favorite jerk bait. Mine's a stunner, and let's take some lead wire. And you find this stuff at Bass Pro Shops in the fly tying. So like, this is thin. They got 4 different deals there. So this is a really thin one. So I'm gonna get me off 18 inches of it. I'm gonna double that thing. I am going to run it through a couple of my hooks. I just run it right through the eye of the hook, and I'm gonna go about, say 3 inches, okay? And then I just start wrapping that around the base of that hook. It's just a great way to add some weight. Now, this bait's gonna sink. I want it to sink quick. Like, I want it to get there quick. It's gonna sink like a rock, you know, and then once it gets down there, I can just start jerking it. It's not a thing that you're gonna pause or do any of that stuff. You'll give it little short pauses, but you gotta think when you're pausing, it's going to the bottom. So I will wrap this around that hook shank. And one thing that I keep in my boat is I just have hooks with the wire already around them. You know, like, you get to the end of the season and you don't want this bait to sink like this anymore. If you only have a few jerk baits, take this hook off and put a regular hook back on there, so you don't have to waste your hook. And you know, I can get this bait now down 20, 30 feet pretty quick. I'll throw it on 12-pound test, you know, Bass Pro Shops fluorocarbon, throw it on 12-pound test, And it is just a great, great bait to get those fish to react. You know, you ask, well, why not throw a swim bait, or you know, why not throw something else? You can't make them react. You know, this thing just by, you know, taking that thing down there and getting it in front of them, and then just bam, 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 jerking it and then pausing it real quick. You know, as they rush up, they will eat it. And, you know, that's probably one of my favorite colors, that ghost minnow color. Oh, that stealth shad's another good one. That's what I do. I just add some weight on those front 2 hooks. That bait's gonna sink, and I get it down to the depth, you know, say 5 foot right above those fish that I see on that active target, and just start working it really, really fast. It's just a way to catch those fish that, when you're not getting bit on the bottom, they're up in that water column, these fish. And let's talk about that. I just think that's what makes fishing so tough in the fall. They're suspended. I mean, think about it. Like, you know, we struggle catching fish a lot in the fall, or it gets harder. You don't get as many bites. You think about all our baits, they all go straight to the bottom. And you just think back to the bites that you've got over the past weekend. Did that bite come right when the bait hit the bottom? Well, if that's the case, that fish followed it to the bottom. You know, if you worked it on the bottom for a while, then yeah, that's a fish that was living on the bottom. But so many times the bites will come the instant it hits the bottom or on the fall. You've just brought it by a fish, he's gone down to get it. So you're just catching a very small number of fish that are actually available because so many of the fish are up in the water column. You know, that's why topwater's so good, you know, but they've got to be pretty high towards the surface. You know, if they're not really high towards the surface, they're not going to see it, feel it, too far for them to get unless it's really clear. That's where this bait's going to shine, in those stained water areas like we have Oklahoma, where you can suspend a jerk bait, get it down there to that 12, 15, 20 feet, and then work it really quick through those fish, through those bait balls. That bait will catch some fish for you, I promise. I like the wire. I just feel like it's a little heavier. You know, there's suspend dots. I carry some suspend dots. It's a way to do it really quickly. But a lot of times they don't stay on for me, and I can't add as much weight as I need to, but that is another option to get you some suspend dots instead of adding the weight to the hook shank. So, as with all our baits, we give these away. So just leave a comment, guys, thumbs up, something. We go through there randomly at the end of this video. I will pick the winners of last month's video and give you those baits. So just leave a comment, you might win when we go to do the November baits. But that is the Berkley Deep Stunner, the 112 plus 1. I like that plus 1 when I'm doing this because that's going to keep that bait down. You know, the longer build, you know, as I'm jerking that thing, it's down deeper. It's a different pull point to it. So I like that deeper one to help keep it down when I'm jerking it really, really quick. So cool bait, cool technique. I'm kind of like shocked that I'm telling y'all about it truthfully, but it's a good bait. It will help you catch more fish. All right. The next bait, you're tired, you're frustrated, you don't want to deal with all these deep fish. You're just, man, you just want to go fishing. It's happening. October, fish, they are going to be shallow. They are going to be uptight. You know, flat pockets, flat banks. We talk about that all the time. We talk about all the top waters. Another bait to have in your arsenal is a lipless crankbait, okay? And this is a brand new bait from Berkley. It's called the Jack. They've got the Jack 6, the Jack 7. The Jack 6, really a cool little bait. It's a 1/2 ounce bait, compact size, really narrow. It's got a great action to it. Comes through the water at a really perfect angle, shad profile. Again, ghost minnow. I'm gonna throw this thing on like 17 or 20 pound test, bigger line to help keep it up. And I'm gonna throw it in the backs of those flat pockets and just wind it, put it on an 8:3-to-1 gear ratio reel. This is a fish catching bait in the fall that a lot of people don't realize. You need a little bit of ripple on the water, a little bit of wind, you know, the more the better, obviously. But it's a great way to get fish to bite in those flat pockets. I cannot tell you how many bass I've caught in the fall on a lipless crankbait. I've had these for a while. These are just now becoming available to you guys. You know, you can check online, but it's the Jack. I like the 6 size for this time of year, you know, because I'm trying to keep that bait up in the water column. You know, you use this bait when you see those balls of shad back in the pockets And you know, every now and then you'll see a fish kind of go up through them, and you've tried your top water and they're not really coming up to the top water. You throw this. It's coming through that stuff so fast. It's a reaction bite. You can cover a lot of water. It's one of those things, you put that trolling motor on go, you throw this thing for miles, and you get bit on. A great bait in October, I promise you, to catch a lot of fish, and you'll catch some really big fish. It's a great bait to throw. Check online. You can find those things online, but really, it's a new take on a lipless crankbait, just being a lot narrower, really compact. It's got really a good sound chamber to it. I love this bait in the fall. Okay, last, this is a brand new bait. I really like it. It's called the clatter crawl. And yes, you know, you're saying, oh, it's a brand new bait, everybody's got a crawl. There's no other crawls on the market that I know of like this bait. What separates this bait? People put rattles in baits, yes, but they put them up here in the main body of a bait, you know, so many times. I don't know of anybody else that actually puts the rattles in the claws. So you think about it, when this bait's come swimming through the water, you fall, you flip it in there next to your lay down, your favorite stump, your favorite dock. These flappers are going like this the whole way down. They are rattling. That is a drawing action, you know, to a bass. If you think about all our bass fishing lures, some of the best bass fishing lures of all time, a lipless crankbait, what does it do? It makes noise. A jerkbait, it makes noise. A crankbait makes noise. You know, all the baits out there make noise, and there's a reason for that, because, you know, bass can feel it, the presence of that bait. We've struggled with that with soft plastics, and now with this clatter crawl, it's got rattles in it that, you know, anytime I move it, it's making noise. You know, why would you need that? Well, it's gonna draw fish to it, dirty, murky water. It's also, you think about a crawfish, you know, clacking its claws together. A really unique bait. It comes pre-rigged right in the package. You don't have to do anything to it. It's got wings here on the head to ensure that it swims straight. It's a great swimming bait, like you would swim a jig. Also to make some disturbance as it's coming through, you know, on the bottom and you're dragging it. It's a bait that you can use as a football jig, just dragging it on the bottom. Another unique aspect of it is that fiber weed guard. We have that in our Agent E. It's just a really good hookup percentage, yet really weedless. Cool colors. We worked hard on these colors. You know, this one here is black blue. You can see it's got that baby blue bottom to it, just like a black, you know, black blue crawl. The appendages all on it are all the time moving, you know, no matter what that bait's doing. We've got green pumpkin, just the old great standby. A super good favorite of mine is going to be the brown orange, green pumpkin brown orange. It's got orange bottom, green pumpkin top, watermelon red, swamp crawl. Really neat color when you need that red. You know, so much of the times in the spring we need some red in those baits. But, you know, the neat bait, you know, for you guys going up those creeks this time of year, it's time of year you start going up to the backs of those creeks. It's time of year you're flipping any shallow wood in the backs of those flats. Give this bait a try. It's something they have not seen, and you will get some bites on it. So the clatter crawl. I throw this thing, I've thrown it on 12 and 14 pound test when I'm out there fishing it deep, you know, 15 feet of water like a football jig. I've thrown it on 20 pound test when I'm swimming it up really shallow. So it's got a good hook in it. You can get away with both. You know, now with the technology and how good of hooks they can make that are strong yet light wire, this hook here works on both aspects of it. I'm really impressed with it. But the clatter crawl, check it out. Really cool. It's got some rattles in it. I'm excited to have this in my arsenal, especially this spring when we go to sight fishing. It's going to be a really cool bait. So, all right, let's pick last month's winner, and you will get those baits. I'm going down through here randomly earlier today, and we picked C, the letter C, shoe fish. He said, man, it's by far our favorite time of the year to fish. It's also important to throw these bigger rods on bigger chopo because those pike and muskie will tear them up. Man, more power to you, buddy, for catching those pike and muskie. I'm not a fan of those toothy critters. They cut my hands up trying to get my bait back out of their mouth. I need bigger pliers. But man, just for leaving the comment, bud, we will send you those baits. I just need you to send me an email through my website. That's the only way that anybody ever wins. I never contact any of you. If you're getting some sort of spam, disregard it. It's not me. It's horrible. People make a living doing that kind of stuff, but I'll never be contacting you guys. But man, congratulations. shoe fish for winning those baits, just send me your address and we will get them out to you ASAP. And with that said, you might win these baits just by leaving a comment, being a subscriber to the channel. It helps me out a bunch with this content, guys. So if you like it, hit that thumbs up. Good fishing. I hope you catch a giant this October, and I hope some of these baits help you.